Imagine waking up tomorrow with $5 million in cash sitting in your garage. Sounds like you just unlocked life on easy mode, right? Well, not so fast. The moment you try buying a luxury house, a Lamborghini, or even dropping six figures on a fancy watch, people are going to start asking questions. Banks, tax agencies, and probably a few investigators will all want to know one thing. Where did all this money come from? And unless your answer is something better than, it's, a long story, you're going to have a problem. That's the catch with money earned from illegal activities. Having millions doesn't mean much if you can't actually spend it without attracting attention. That's why criminals came up with one of the smartest financial tricks ever invented: money laundering. But before we talk about cleaning money, let's figure out what makes it dirty in the first place. Dirty money is simply money earned through illegal activities. It could come from fraud, drug trafficking, corruption, bribery, tax evasion, scams, or countless other crimes. The cash isn't stained with mud. It just has a criminal history attached to it. Here's the issue. Money leaves a digital footprint almost everywhere it goes. Every bank transfer, investment, expensive purchase, or deposit creates a record, and financial investigators specialize in connecting those dots. It's basically like posting your entire crime story online. Except you didn't mean to. So the mission is pretty straightforward. Take money that looks incredibly suspicious and make it appear completely legitimate. The goal is to convince the financial system that it's just ordinary income from a legal source. To pull that off, criminals usually rely on a three-step process. The first step is called placement, and it's easily the most dangerous stage. This is where they try to sneak huge amounts of cash into the financial system without raising any red flags. So, how do you quietly move millions of dollars into the banking system without every alarm going off? Well, you definitely don't walk into a bank carrying a giant duffel bag stuffed with $5 million in cash. That's basically the financial version of wearing a shirt that says, "Please investigate me." Banks are required to report unusually large cash transactions, so criminals have to get creative. One of the oldest tricks is called smurfing. And no, it has nothing to do with the tiny blue cartoon characters. Smurfing means breaking one massive pile of cash into lots of smaller deposits. Instead of depositing everything at once, they make deposits just below the reporting limit. In the United States, cash transactions of $10,000 or more generally trigger automatic reporting requirements. So instead of one huge deposit, they might deposit $9,700, $9,500, or $9,900 across different banks, different accounts, and over many days or weeks. Sometimes they even recruit multiple people, often called smurfs, to make the deposits for them. It's repetitive, time-consuming, and honestly feels more like a full-time office job than a glamorous criminal career. Another popular strategy is buying a cash-heavy business. Think about places like restaurants, bars, car washes, laundromats, or small convenience stores. These businesses naturally handle lots of cash every day, making it much harder to verify exactly how much money actually came in. A criminal can mix illegal cash with genuine business revenue and simply report higher sales than the business actually made. Maybe they claim hundreds of customers showed up when only a fraction did. On paper, everything looks like normal business income, and the money can now be deposited into the bank with far less suspicion. Once the cash successfully enters the financial system, the toughest part is over. Now that the money is safely inside the financial system, it's time for stage 2, layering. This is where things start looking less like a crime movie and more like someone accidentally opened 500 browser tabs and forgot what they were doing. The goal is simple: make the money so difficult to trace that investigators can't easily connect it to its original source. How? By moving it over and over and over again. Imagine money leaving one bank account in one country, landing in a company somewhere else, getting transferred to another business in a different country, then being invested somewhere else, before eventually ending up back in another account. After enough transfers, following the money becomes incredibly complicated. Every extra step creates another layer of paperwork, transactions, and ownership records. The longer the chain gets, the harder it becomes for investigators to figure out where everything started. One of the biggest tools used during this stage is something called a shell company. A shell company is completely legal to create in many places. On paper, it looks like a real business, But in reality, it may have no employees, no products, no customers, and sometimes not even an actual office. It mainly exists as a legal entity with a name and a bank account. In places like the British Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, and even Delaware in the United States, forming these companies can be relatively easy. In some cases, the real owner's identity isn't publicly listed. That creates another obstacle for investigators. One company owns another company, which is owned by a trust, which is managed by someone else in a different country with strict financial privacy laws. Following the ownership trail becomes like trying to untangle a giant ball of holiday lights, except every wire leads to another knot. After enough layers, finding the true owner becomes extremely difficult. And once the money has been buried under all those transactions, it's finally ready for the last step: integration, where it re-enters the economy looking like perfectly legitimate wealth. Welcome to the final stage, integration. This is where the whole plan comes together. After the money has been placed into the financial system and passed through countless transactions, it can finally come back looking completely legitimate. Instead of suspicious cash, it now appears to be money earned from perfectly legal investments or business activities. One of the most common ways this happens is through real estate. A luxury apartment or high-end home might be purchased through a company rather than an individual. After holding the property for a while, it's sold, and the money now looks like profit from a normal real estate deal, instead of cash connected to crime. This is one reason some major cities have expensive properties sitting empty, owned by companies whose real owners are difficult to identify. Another industry that has attracted attention is the art market. Unlike everyday products, artwork doesn't have a fixed value. One painting might sell for a few $1,000s, while another sells for tens of millions. Because pricing can be highly subjective, expensive artwork has sometimes been used to move large amounts of money with fewer obvious questions than other assets. Later, selling the artwork can make the money appear to be legitimate investment income. The numbers involved worldwide are enormous. According to estimates from the United Nations, between $800 billion and $2 trillion is laundered globally every year. That's roughly 2% of the world's entire economy. Even more surprising, authorities are estimated to recover only about 1% of the money being laundered annually. That means the overwhelming majority successfully slips through the cracks. If any normal business managed a 99% success rate, investors would call it revolutionary. When organized criminals pull it off, for them, it's just another day at the office. And that's what makes money laundering one of the most sophisticated and challenging financial crimes in the world. And that's the crazy world of money laundering. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos that make complicated topics ridiculously easy to understand, and let me know in the comments what topic I should uncover next. Until then, stay curious, and maybe stick to earning your money the legal way. It's way less paperwork,